January 4th, 2021 Fluency. What is the difference between 14 and 62 hundredths and 13 and 1,234 ten thousandths? All right, so first of all, what we are going to take a look at is this word difference. That word difference means what are we going to do? We're going to be subtracting. And we're going to be subtracting what two numbers? 14 and 62 hundredths and 13 and 1,234 ten thousandths. So I am going to, I'll put it in the same color. So I'm going to have 14 and 62 hundredths. And we're going to subtract. When I'm adding or subtracting decimals, what do I have to do? Line them up. So 13 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, let's go ahead and put in our placeholders of 0 here so that we can completely subtract. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to subtract. I'll use some green here. So we cannot do 0 minus 4, so we're going to have to borrow from that 0. Oh, we're going to have to borrow from this 2. This 2 is going to become a 1 to make this 0 10. Now we can borrow from this 0, or from this 10 to make that 10 a 9. Whoop. And make this 0 a 10. Now we have 10 minus 4, which is 6. 9 minus 3 is going to be 6 as well. 1 minus 2 we cannot do, so we're going to have to borrow from this 6 to make that a 5. To make this 1 an 11. 11 minus 2 is going to be 9. 5 minus 1 is 4. What do I do with that decimal? Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. 4 minus 3 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So our final answer here, I'll highlight it, is 1 and 4,966 ten thousandths, or 1.4966. All right, on to number 2. On to number 2 here. Find the product. So I know that word product is going to be multiply of, so we're going to find the product of 32 and 11 hundredths and 17. When I'm multiplying, do I have to line them up? No, I do not have to line them up when multiplying. We're going to line them up to the right. So 32 and 11 hundredths times 17. All right, so now let's multiply. Let's do that. 7 times 1 is going to be 7. 7 times 1 also is going to be 7. 7 times 2 is going to be 14. I'm going to carry that 1, drop that 4. 7 times 3 is going to be 21, plus 1 is 22. Now, I'm done with that 7. I'm going to cross it out and put a placeholder of 0. I'm also done with this 1, so I'm going to cross that out. So now I can move on to my next value. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 3 is 3. Now, what do we do with those two numbers? Oh, yeah, we're going to add them. So 7 plus 0 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. Is that my answer? Not yet, almost. What did we forget to do? We have to put in our decimals. So how many digits do we go in? We go in 1, in 2. So in our answer, we're going to go in 1, in 2. So our decimal is going to go between that 5 and that 8. So our answer is going to be 545 and 87 hundredths. I'll highlight that so we have that answer there. There we go. All right, let's take a look at number 3. What is the quotient of these two numbers of 3,478 divided by 17? So quotient, remember that means we are going to divide. So we'll have 3,478 divided by 17. So remember, 3,478 goes on the inside of our house with 17 on the outside of our house. All right, now we are going to be able to divide. So can 17 go into 3? No, it cannot. Can 17 go into 34? So 17 cannot go into 3. 17 cannot go into 34. Yes, it can. And how many times can it go into 34? Well, I know 17 times 2. Let's take a look. Sometimes I like to write on the side. 17 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. 2 plus 1 is 3. 34. So look, I know that 17 can go in 2 times. So I'm going to put a 2 above that 4. 17 times 2 is going to be 34. So now what I'm going to do is subtract. 4 minus 4 is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. So there we are. Are we done? Not quite. What did we forget to do? Well, we still have to bring down that 7. So we bring down that 7. Can 17 go into 7? Can 17 go into 7? No, it cannot. So here's an important part. We have to put a 0 here because it cannot go into 7. We have to put that 0 there. Now we can bring down our next one. 8. Can 17 go into 78? Well, it can, but let's see how many times. Well, let's try some different things out. So I like to try things out. Let's see. So 17. We know times 2 is 34. Maybe times 5? I don't know. Let's try it. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 3 is 8. Oh, that's too much. What about 17 times 4? So let's try 17 times 4 and see what that gives us. So this is also work that you can do on your scrap piece of paper that's sitting beside of you. So 4 times 7 is going to be 28. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. So 17 times 4 is going to be 68. So we're going to end up putting our 4 up here. And 17 times 4 is 68. Now we're going to subtract. Let me erase that there. Perfect. So now we're going to subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. 7 minus 6 is 1. Now, what we can do is say it's 204 with a remainder of 10. So that will be one option. I'll put it down here. 204 with a remainder of 10. Or we can keep going with a decimal. So we can put a decimal here, and we can put a 0, placeholder 0. Then we can end up bringing that 0 down. Well, if I have it into 100, if we put a decimal here, we'd have to pop that decimal up when we're dividing. And we'll have to extend our little line here. So now 17, how many times can 17 go into 100? Well, I know 17, we know that 17 times 4 was 68. 17 times 5 we said was 85. What about 17 times 6? If we did 17 times 6, let's see here. 17 times 6, we would get 102. So it's going to have to be 17 times 5, which is 85. So we're going to have to put a 5 here, 85, and subtract. So 0 minus 5 we can't do. Oh, borrow. Oh, so this 1 becomes a 0 to make this a 10. Oh, now we can make it a 9 to make this a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 8 is 1. So we have that 15 here. 17 cannot go into 15, so we have to put a 0. And we are done with our answer up here. So we're going to stop there. So it can be 204 and 50 hundredths. It's going to be or 204.50. And then I'll kind of just erase that so we have a little bit more of a clear look there. So you can have either 204 with a remainder of 10 or 204.50. And that will be it for our fluency. Great job.